Tonight, we look back at the life of Laura Moon, the living embodiment of the phrase, "You never appreciate what you have until you lose it." It's American Gods, Season 1, Episode 4, Git Gone. Hey everyone, D here, and welcome to this week's review of American Gods. So yes, as usual, lots of spoilers coming up here. Alright, so we're taking a little break this week from our journey across America, recruiting the old gods for Mr. Wednesday's big upcoming battle. And take a look back at the life of Laura Moon, where she comes from, how she met Shadow, their whole relationship, and then of course the whole affair, accident, and basically everything leading up to her suddenly appearing on Shadow's bed in the motel there. So let's get things started. So Laura is a dealer back at the 26th Dynasty Casino. And I love that whole opening bit, how we take a look back and it's like, all right, we're good, we're back in ancient Egyptian casino. So sort of a nice feel of carrying things over there. Just real quick, 26th Dynasty, considered the beginning of the late period of ancient Egypt. It's sort of the last hurrah for Egypt. They had just sort of thrown off the yoke of Assyria, had gone back under self-rule, started from about 664 BC all the way up until about 525 when we have the Persian conquest. So this is sort of the last hurrah of Egypt under its own rule. Independent, but in decline. And the same could be said pretty much for Laura here at this point. She is independent, but in decline. She is in a rut in life. She is basically bored. And boredom might be the one continuing theme throughout Laura's life. Nothing is interesting. Her skills are getting put by the wayside. Some of it she's even being replaced by the machinery, the automatic shoe, so she doesn't even have to shuffle the cards anymore. Her skills are not needed as much. Her life is in decline. She is bored. Bored to the point of trying to kill herself with a little bit of Git Gone bug spray. Yeah, that's always a good thing. Huffing on that underneath the casino, underneath her jacuzzi there. So looking for a way out, not really excited about life, until she meets Shadow, who she gets pretty immediately as a con man trying to rob the casino. I love their little back and forth. He has life, he has energy, he has intrigue. She has the experience and kind of objectivity. So in some ways, they're a really good match. Even with card-wise, she does. She has the technical skills and stuff. She has the salesmanship potential, as Shadow refers to it. Shadow, he's got the other skills, knowing what to look for, knowing the little tricks. So the two of them together could be a very powerful combination. Unfortunately, Laura's real problem is she doesn't emotionally connect in with anything. I mean, even her relationship with Shadow, you can see it from the first opening sequence where she brings him back to her house and they're getting it on and being excited, and she just has the ultimate look of boredom on her face. She's got to slap him around so that he slaps her around, makes it bigger, makes it more intense. Everything has to have a higher level for her because she just gets complacent. And that is sort of throughout their relationship. Even when they find out get married, her response is, "Yeah, that was fun." You know, she calls Shadow puppy. "Hey, puppy," because he's like a puppy. He's very emotionally excited by her, and she is kind of like the owner that doesn't care all that much about the excitement. So that is sort of their relationship. This is sort of where she is at until the point where she decides, let's rob the casino. It's the first thing that he suggested to her when they met. And now, married years later, the boredom again has gotten to her. There is, even Shadow's love is not an interesting thing to her. We catch that constantly throughout any of their times, moments together. Whenever he's nuzzled up in her neck, she's got that look of boredom, of just waiting for something to go on. He's leaving at night and she's huffing Git Gone back in her jacuzzi. You know, it's just this repetitive cycle. So when she finally decides, let's do something, let's step things up, I am bored, I need something better. And this is, again, that other defining difference between her and Shadow. For Shadow, she is enough. She fills him. For her, he does not feel the same thing. She needs something else to come and take that place. She's constantly looking for something to fill that emptiness in her. So, of course, when things go wrong, as they're going to, because she is arrogant, that objectivity and that lack of emotional connection makes her arrogant. She thinks she knows how everything is going to be, but of course, everything is always variable. Things go wrong. And boom, now we've got Shadow off to prison, and she has to wait the 3 long years that he is going to be in there. Which she does, all right, for a while. While she doesn't have that strong emotional commitment, she does have a loyalty. She is waiting for Shadow, and that will maintain itself until we get another change, which is, of course, the cat dying. And that brings over Dane Cook being all Dane Cookie, being Robbie there, with their little emotional connection. Oh, I'm sorry, can I be here for you? That's expected. She's drunk, she's got lost, he's Dane Cook, Robbie, I'm sorry. And then, you know, that's just, it's a natural thing, especially, again, for her. She doesn't have that same emotional connection. Even Robbie says it to her later on. You don't love him the same way that he loves you. And she knows that. So she has loyalty. I mean, I got to give it up to her. She was committed to waiting for and bringing Shadow back into her life. It's just in the interim, she didn't really care so much about anything else. So then we get to the big fateful day, 5 days until Shadow Moon is released from prison. As I had commented the other week when we got that look inside of Shadow's house, it seemed like maybe the bed was all tussled. Were the two of them, Robbie and Laura, having a thing just right after they got off the phone? Well, my mistake. It had actually happened right before she got on the phone, and Robbie is laying in their bed while Laura is telling Shadow, I cannot wait for you to get home. I'm so excited. We are planning your return party. That's just cold. That's just cold. Now, she does say, let's go for a ride. This is the end of it. Of course, we have Dane Cook. We have Robbie. I'm sorry. He's just Dane Cook to me. Saying, hey, I'll leave my wife. I'll leave Audrey. We'll do that. And she's saying no. So again, she does have that loyalty to Shadow. Commitment, I don't know. Well, she's got a commitment to him, maybe not a loyalty. Maybe that's a better turn of phrase there. Until the big accident. Funny enough, as she is trying to say goodbye to him, send him off with a little something. Now, you may have noticed, of course, the 2 ravens flying over the car on that scene. So we do have Odin, Mr. Wednesday, looking at this incident. Now, there is no indication that he caused any of this to happen. We didn't get to see any of that. There weren't flashes of birds. There wasn't anything that jumped in front of the car. He was just distracted from the BJ, accidentally hitting the shifter into neutral. So when he says the other car and tries to relax, hits the gas, there's no power on that. So boom, that is basically what happens. And then she pops out to witness the crash and incident following up there. Now, I did find it kind of interesting. We had the discussion before about their belief in afterlife, and it was kind of thrown off here, but here it comes back into big focus. Now, why Anubis is there necessarily for someone that doesn't believe in anything, that's kind of a question. Now, is it tied into the fact that she works in the Egyptian casino? Maybe. Maybe that was sort of the last thoughts that she sees of the afterlife, and therefore that is how the manifestation is. But a real interesting little back and forth between her and Anubis. Of course, not realizing what's going on, really throwing the whole weighing the heart in his face. Doesn't even give a chance. Just admits, hey, I've got a heavy heart. I make no excuses for my life. Kind of basically the arrogant atheist looking at a God and saying, what you gonna do about it? Well, his response is, look, I have dealt with everybody from kings. Kings and rich men have been offered all sorts of stuff. You're going into the nothingness. You believed in nothing, so I will send you to nothing. That being personified by the jacuzzi. Again, beautiful, with a little can of Git Gone on top of it. This is how you saw life. This is how you valued life. So this is where you're going to go in the afterlife. This is how it all ends up. Now, her response was great, but even better than the response was the big, huge sucking sound of the as she gets yanked back to Earth. That was, that was beautiful. And now she has returned. She is back. She is a soul inside of a decayed body, which... it's not a zombie or anything. And again, she isn't brought back to life because her body, her soul is manifesting, is making her body move. But as we see, she slowly starts to fall apart. She is still decaying. There's nothing in that has changed. So I guess technically she'd be a lich at this point. Does liches still remain memory? Zombies not. Whites, a little ghouls, a little more flesh eating. Anyway, let's say lich. Returned also with the magic of the coin, and that has sort of sent her back off. Now, we do learn a couple of things within this whole journey of hers. One, we find out how Shadow gets saved. Way back in episode 1, that it was Laura that went in and ripped apart all of Technology Boy's goons. Now, I don't believe that he could see her at the time. Now, yes, he is out of it, but we did see kind of some larger shots, so I'm not entirely sure if she was visible and he just didn't see her. It seemed to be more of the case that she was, to him, an invisible force that was acting on the world around him. I'm not really sure how that exactly plays out. She should be a physical embodiment. There's no reason for it. Later on when Audra sees her and everybody else, they have no problem seeing her. But she's certainly superpowered and there to defend Shadow. Now, Shadow glowing in the background for her, that could be a couple of things. One, in some ways, he's the light of her life. She now loves him. She is the glow for her. He is the draw for her. And that could be the case. It could be their connection. It could be the love there that he has for her or vice versa that is setting the glow. The other possibility here is, of course, the coin. The coin is what has brought her back, which has allowed her spirit to return into her body. Was Sweeney, Mad Sweeney's coin there. So it could be the fact that because the coin technically belongs to Shadow at this point, it was Sweeney's, Shadow stole it. Then when he flipped it up into the grave, almost was like a wish to bring her back. So is she now powered by a wish, and therefore she is seeing him as a glow because he is the connection to life. He is literally what allowed her to come back. He is the center. That could, as the possessor of the coin, even though I guess the coin's inside of her right now, not really sure how that is. But I think that we can look at it either of those two ways. One, the fact that she is there for him. Also the fact that because he brought her back, that is why the draw is, and that may have been why she has all those extra strengths and powers and such as well. And so from there we kind of finish following her journey falling apart as she tries to get to Shadow. Just watching all those instances I think was quite hilarious. One, when she does pop out of the grave, her throwing up the embalming fluid in her, that was gross. And how that continues to start to sort of manifest itself as she falls apart. The scene with Audra when she shows up was just awesome on so many layers. One, hilarious, appropriate, watching her freaking out while Laura's trying to apologize about crapping out embalming fluid and using the restroom. How are you supposed to properly have a conversation with your dead best friend who was having an affair with your husband while she's sitting on the crapper? You can't have a serious conversation that way. Anyway, it was just, I mean, it was a wonderful change for Audra from the terror of seeing her to the sort of confusion about her there to just the return to the spite and anger. The great thing, the one thing about mourning somebody's passing is when you're glad to see them dead. She says some line like that. Even as she's helping her repair her arm, she's just like, I'm sorry, fuck you. Just, it was so beautiful seeing that kind of that back and forth there. It was hilarious. It was appropriate. It was just really kind of wonderful. And willing to give her a ride to go and see Shadow. And even the back and forth there in the car about what Laura's really trying to expect within all of this, I thought was brilliantly done. Until, of course, they run back into Anubis. Apparently wandering the back roads of America like every other god, I guess. Only he's wandering it with a mortician. It seems like something Anubis would do. So this brings her back, gives Laura basically an opportunity to dress herself up, look really nice for her encounter with with Shadow. So that was nice, that was calm, a little bit of paint, a little bit of drilling the bones in and getting the steel pins to make everything connect. But this also seemed to be kind of a point for Laura to get a last moment. Her conversation with Anubis there seemed to imply that, look, this is it. This is your moment to go and clear everything up. I'm going to help you out with that. Suss you all up, make you look all pretty, get you on your way to do that last thing, because when it's all over with, you are returning back to the jacuzzi of nothingness. Which at this point she seems to be okay with. Because again, she is now appreciating that life which she didn't care about too much for. That was taken away. Now that she is dead and come back, she now appreciates that life, that love, that relationship that she had with Shadow. And so now, I'm not really sure what her plan is. Hey, can you take me back, puppy? Falling apart and all as I am? That still going to be a real interesting conversation there. All right, I actually just have one small little extra comment about tonight's episode, and that is, don't use bug spray in the kitchen. That's where you eat. That's where dishes are on your food. Just spraying bug spray up in the air right over your plates. It's just wrong. Actually, Laura's not a lich. You know what she really is? Alright, well I think that pretty much wraps things up for this week. Now, of course, next week we're going to have that very uncomfortable conversation between Shadow and Laura. Really curious where that's going to go before we finally get back on the road to recruiting more gods for the big battle. Now, next Saturday, I am doing a live viewing and commentary of a Game of Thrones episode with Mark over at Enchantment of Eternity and a few other YouTubers. Now that's going to be 5 p.m. Pacific time next Saturday the 27th. And we don't know what episode we're going to use yet. That is up to, well, you guys. You and his viewers and so on. I will throw up a link where you guys can go to. You get 1 vote per person, put it in the comments section of the video, and then he'll tally things up. Now, I think he's going to do that like Tuesday at noon, New Zealand time, which is going to be like Monday night here in the States. So not a whole lot of time in order to throw out your ideas. But then we will be doing a live viewing and commentary of the episode. We'll let you know what episode and all of that as soon as we find out. So that is going to be next week. I hope some of you guys can come and check that out. It should be fun. So if you did enjoy this particular video and review, you know how much I appreciate those like buttons. Thoughts, ideas, comments, what'd you think of Laura? Are you still mad at her? Do you get a little bit of understanding about maybe where she's coming from, maybe a little less hurtful? What are your opinions and feelings there? Throw those down in the comments section below. Also, any ideas about her lich superpowers there that she was able to take apart Technology Boys? Guys, curious what you guys think. Throw those down in the comments section below. Now, of course, as usual, you can catch me on Twitter and Instagram. I'm at Darren Jakes right there. And so what I'll do is I'm going to throw up a link to the video. This is over Enchantment of Eternity. Click on the link and you can go and vote in the comments section. Let us know what Game of Thrones episode you want us to do next Saturday. And I will throw that up. Let me get in the center of the screen right here. And then, of course, I'll throw up our latest review for the big finale of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. right here. And then, let's see, we'll just put the subscription button right over here. So that should cover up everything. All right, so I am D, and I'm out of here. Catch you guys next time. Bye-bye.